Did you know that chess is 99% tactics? Most games across all levels of chess are decided by who can calculate better and who can find tactics faster, more effectively, and find them in games. So let's start our practice now. We will be doing advanced level tactics only chess. So let's get into. All right, this is our first position. We are playing as white, and we have just captured here, and our opponent has captured back our knight, and we need to find the best move for white. We will follow the CCA method, which is the checks, captures, and attacks method. But before we do that, let's quickly see who has more material in this position and just evaluate it in general. I see that black has both sides have two rooks, but it looks like black is a bishop up because we have one bishop while black has two bishops. We have a few pawns, extra pawns in exchange for the bishop, but black is still up in material. Okay, now let's see what checks we have because checks are our first priority in the checks, captures, and attacks method. The first check I see is queen takes e5. Okay, so this is a check on the king here. Let's say white, black, plays bishop e7. What will we play next? Let's look at checks, captures, attacks again. Hmm. Queen takes bishop doesn't make sense as we lose our queen. How about queen takes g7? The rook is being attacked. So it's queen takes. Try to visualize this without the arrows, but I'll draw the arrows for those of you who may need it. Queen takes pawn, bishop e7, queen takes pawn, and the rook is attacked, so it has to go to the f8 square. What do we play next? Checks, captures, attacks. By the way, black is still a bishop up. I don't think it's convincing enough because black is just a bishop up and we don't have any proper compensation. Though black's king is weak, I think that's still equal. Let's look at some other alternatives. After takes, bishop here. What else can we do? Wait, so we can't find any good checks. What about captures? If queen takes rook, the black queen will capture and we are down a queen. But what if after bishop e7, we take this bishop? Wait, that must be losing. No, it's not losing. Think about it. Even if it looks losing, we will still use checks, captures, and attacks after the move. After queen takes pawn, bishop e7, and rook takes this bishop on the d7 square. If the queen captures, this queen was guarding the rook, and we'll just take the rook. But what if after rook takes, the king takes? Surely we are losing, right? Because the rook is defended by the queen and the king will just run away to the queen side. Wrong. Let's think about checks, captures, and attacks. We'll play rook to d1, checking the king again. And this time, if the bishop steps in front, we'll take the queen, the bishop. Wait, this seems too complicated. Let me show it for you. Queen takes, rook captures. The queen decided to capture here, but if king captures, I'll show you one moment. We take here. Okay, king captures, rook d1, and if the bishop comes here, we just take the bishop. But alternatively, we just take the queen. Let us move on to the second position. This is a endgame with queens. First, we'll be assessing material. Who has more material? Well, both sides have queens and kings, but black has seven pawns while white only has five. So white is two pawns. I mean, black is two pawns up. Let's look at checks, captures, and attacks. The first check is queen to e8. Let's try to think what black will play next. King g7. Again, we'll look at checks, captures, and attacks. Pawn to f6. If it sacrifices a pawn, doesn't mean it's a bad move. The king will take because there's nowhere else to go except for h6 where it will get mated. Wait, again, we look at checks, captures, attacks, and we see queen to e5. Checkmate. This is the way. We just push and it's checkmate. Now, if you find that it's complicated to find puzzles, answers to puzzles like this, and think, oh, how will I find this in games? It's so hard to spot them. How will I solve puzzles using the CCA method when it's so hard to find answers? I'll make it simple for you. Checks have the highest priority Focus on checks, and tactics will become 100 times easier for you. Let's move on to the next puzzle. Let us move on to our third position. Wait, what is this? Look at all of White's pieces. What is this pawn doing here? This is such a bizarre position. White is about to checkmate us. Look at all of these pieces. Oh no, don't worry. We'll be using the CCA method to make things easier for us. When you play a game or you're solving a puzzle and you see an insane position like this where you think you must be losing, sometimes that's not the case. Let's follow the CCA method. First, let's quickly evaluate the material. Three pieces versus three pieces. Black has 5 pawns, even white has 5 pawns. Therefore, the material is equal. Checks are our first priority in the CCA method. There are no checks here. Okay, what's next in priority? Captures. There are only two captures here, but none of them make sense because if queen takes knight, the rook will take back. Queen takes pawn, the knight will take our queen. And what about attacks? How can we attack our opponent? One move I see here is knight to f6, attacking this rook here, and even this pawn. Let's say we'll now consider checks captures attacks for our opponent too. Okay, so knight here. What if white captures the pawn? We must be losing here, right? Because white just has this really powerful pawn. Stop. Let's look at checks captures attacks again. Don't try to evaluate a position based upon your emotions. Use calculation. Knight takes pawn, checks the king and the queen, picking up the queen due to the fork. So knight here, what else can white do? Absolutely nothing. If the queen takes, we just take back with the king. And after captures, what if we capture here? Yes, pawn takes and queen takes. We are winning. Even though white has these two pawns, we are just up a rook. Next position. Let's evaluate the material here. White has just captured our pawn. Three pieces, three pieces. Black has 5 pawns, while white has 6 pawns, and these 2 pawns look seriously close to the king. Okay, checks captures attacks now. What's the first check you see? Rook takes. Is it losing? That should not be our thought now. Our thought should be after rook takes and white's response, how do I use CCA to threaten white? Rook takes. The pawn can take because the queen is pinning it to the king. King takes is forced. But wait, what if the king doesn't take? Well, then queen takes, and after king e1, there's a checkmate on d1. Okay, so rook here. What if the king does take? Let's look at checks, captures, attacks from there. Hmm. Queen e4, king here. Queen d4, king here. I don't see any continuation. Uh, this will be our last puzzle. So, okay. Rook takes, king here. How about rook to d1, d8 check? The king goes to e6, let's say, e3. Then we give a check. We're just giving checks. After king to e2, let's say I'll draw a red arrow now. Queen to d2. This looks complicated. Don't worry. We are still using CCA. And as you improve at this method, you'll find it much easier. So king f3. I don't see any good continuation. Let's try this take. Okay. What if we push now? That's another check. Pawn takes. That doesn't make a difference because the king still runs. Check here. Wait, I have an idea. How about rook check? King goes here. Also, if rook check and the king goes to e4, queen to d4 is checkmate. No, it's not. This is confusing. But guess what? We won't back down. We will still keep calculating. This is not a bullet game. We don't have to hurry. We want to improve our calculation. Let's calm down. Checks. These two checks look sensible. First, we'll see queen here. Queen here. King e2. What's next? Isn't really clear. Where's our next check? We don't have any checks. So rook to d8 has to be the move. If king to e4, let's finalize that first. Then we play rook e4, check. Do we? King can go forward. Let's try it. Okay, so I could not find the solution to this puzzle because I already, without calculating the whole line, I just made moves hoping they would be correct. But we will learn something new. So let's just give a check. That's the wrong move. The correct move is queen c3. We give a check. If the king moves, it's checkmate. This last puzzle that we did just now proved that no matter how high your elo is, you will always make mistakes. Magnus Carlsen makes mistakes, I make mistakes, people who have a rating below zero, even they make mistakes. So the key point that you need to take away from this video is to learn how to use the CCA method like we used in the previous puzzles to win games by getting better at tactics. Now you will first do 10 tactics on Leeches or chess.com or any other tactics website using the CCA method, and you will see a big change instantly. Then you will play a 10-minute or 15-minute long game. You'll think well and you'll use the CCA method to win the game. Let me know how it goes. Train to win. Bye.